Hi, good evening. Often I do topics related to my age or things that are typically not very well spoken about. For some reason, today I'm going to pick a very different topic, and that's about Gen Zs, specifically about Gen Zs, why they are ditching the drinks habit, right? Or as we call it, the sober, curious generation. So, just a few months back, I think 6, 7 months back, I was coming across some articles and online about a lot of old heritage pubs in the high streets that are getting closed up. Then I started reading a little more about it and saw that this pattern was found across Europe and even in nations that were heavily into drinking culture, like Spain and a couple of other countries, Germany, etc. The same pattern was seen even in Australia, where drinking beer and everything is quite normal. And I also found that a lot of pubs and breweries were actually closing down, unfortunately. And it's about at the rate of 30 to 40 per month in the UK or London right now. And we see a similar pattern in some of the cities of USA, right? Started reading a little bit more. And then I figured that's because of a generational shift that is happening. And obviously, the main crusaders of this generation is the Gen Z, who are the kind of entering the workforce. They're in the range of 13 to 27, 28 right now, right? 97 to 2012, right? Yeah, correct. In that range. Now, this presents a very interesting challenge for the hospitality industry and also the people who are maybe even in the food industry, right? Not just the beer and alcohol industry, but also the food industry and also uh, how things are going to shape up in terms of future and health and wellness industry, of course. Now, the statistics are quite interesting. I'll just quickly share my screen and show you so that you get an understanding of the change that is happening. Okay. Yeah, I hope you can see this. Gen Z, the more sober generation, as you can see, millennials 30, 31, 20, 28, and we see a sharp difference in terms of drinking one third less than what the millennials were used to in terms of the Gen Z. Right? This is what I wanted to speak about. So now that that aspect is done, cool. We'll continue with the rest of the conversation. Now, statistically, what people are saying in Gen Z is that 1 in 4 Gen Zs have never tried alcohol, which is a much higher percentage compared to the millennial generation. And also, what they're saying is a survey from Gallup in 2023 found that the share of adults under the age of 35 who say they never ever drink dropped 10 percentage points in 2 decades. That is 62 percentage, down from 72 in 2001 to 3 when they did a research in 2021 to 23. So that's a almost 10 percentage points difference in terms of the percentage of people who are drinking. So there's another statement by National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, George F. Koob. He basically says it's become very clear that for whatever reasons, today's younger generations are just less interested in alcohol and are more likely than older generations to see it as risky for their health and to participate in periods of abstinence. Alcohol's social reputation has also changed. It makes sense that older drinkers are drinking more, given that baby boomers were steeped in heavier drinking culture. And on average, the amount of time people spent with friends in person decreased from 30 hours a month in 2003 to 10 hours in 2020. Now, this plays a part, of course, right? Because alcohol and socializing were kind of tied very together in the sense that if you had to meet an old friend, it was typically not a sober meeting, it was typically over alcohol, which is, since the number of hours you're spending meeting them has reduced dramatically or drastically, the same way the drinking percentages have also declined. The other thing is, I don't think people exactly know what are the specific reasons why there's a decline, but it is worldwide completely understood and accepted for the fact that the percentage of people in the Gen Z who drink are way, way less now. This psychiatrist, Dr. Anand, who's given a couple of statements, the answer is we don't really know, but there's a lot of theories. Okay, and we'll go through some of those theories. One of them is the clean living lifestyle that is embraced by Gen Z, meaning they make a lot of more healthier choices when it comes to eating and drinking. That's kind of understood. But what is a little concerning is also the fact that while the beer and alcohol consumption has reduced in Gen Z, the cannabis uh, consumption rates have increased compared to the previous generation. So, something. It's also been observed in US and other countries that there's a lot of ready to drink stuff that's available. They call it RTD. And also there's a lot of sober bars that are opening up across countries in mainly in the US and the UK. And I think there's a lot of products even in India that I'm seeing that there's a lot of mocktails and ready to drink alcoholic taste giving, but it doesn't contain alcohol. Almost like 0% beer, 0% wine, alcohol wine. These are the products that are coming in now. Some of the reasons why the Gen Zs could be drinking less is something that we can hypothesize right now, now that we have started going a little deeper into the topic. Is one of the primary reasons seems to be health and the wellness trend. So Gen Zs grew up in the digital age. They were exposed to technology and mobile and a little more their social interactions were or exposure was way more than the previous generation, right? So this increased awareness is something, and exposure to social media could give them a lot more exposure to the harmful effects of alcohol compared to the previous generation. That's one reason. Secondly, Gen Z also have placed a lot more virtue and importance on their physical and mental health, and in fact they discuss this quite openly compared to the previous generation, where they are very vocal in terms of talking to psychiatrists and psychologists about their mental health, and the same with physical health. Thus, you'd observe even in a place like Bangalore, the number of gyms that are opening in every street is way more than what I've seen in my entire 40, 45 years. Same with a lot of healthy options that are opening up. You see a lot of nut shops suddenly mushrooming in almost every street. So I definitely see the trend in terms of health and wellness, and of course, opening up of a lot more fitness centers also plays kind of signifies that the Gen Z is trending in the direction. Even in general, the population is tending to trend in a health and wellness way, but the Gen Z is largely the driving force going forward, right? Now, when it comes to, so we touched upon the health and wellness aspect, and let's cover the social media aspect. Now, everyone is on social media, Instagrams, YouTubes, and a bunch of other forums where you have a lot more influencers and wellness gurus and let's say great podcasters talking about the ill effects of alcohol, right? I mean, ill effects of smoking was already known to people. There's no two ways about it. But specifically, when you come to alcohol, earlier it was just believed that yeah, it'll affect your liver, so drink less, right? Nobody ever said don't drink alcohol as much as they now. But today, if you see right from Jordan Peterson to Andrew Huberman to any of the fitness gurus or wellness gurus or doctors, or I think there's a liver doctor in India. I think his name is Abby or something. Uh, a lot of people on right from on Twitter to YouTube are clearly spelling out that no amount of alcohol is safe for you, and they go in great lengths to explain what are the harmful effects that it can have on your physical and mental health as well. Now, this Gen Z is extremely oriented and particular about their physical and mental health compared to the previous ones, that they kind of are more aware of the negative effects of alcohol on them. And probably that's one reason they're trying to avoid or reduce the consumption of alcohol. So these are some reasons we can think of. The other thing that I think could be also possible is the way they socialize has completely changed. Even I think the way even we socialize in our generation has also changed, in the sense the instance of in-person meetings that we used to have has reduced drastically, unfortunately, but that's the reality, right? It's also in a place like Bangalore, due to heavy traffic, you really don't feel like going out much. That's number one. And secondly, more people have generally become a lot more lazier. They're more used to digital ways of connecting with people, and more so with Gen Zs, right? They're happy using their mobile phones, texting rather than calling. And obviously, then meeting a person is not on the list of, let's say, the top priorities, or let's say the top preferred mode of meeting someone. Now, I think this is also one way, because you normally associate meeting someone either for lunch or a dinner, or mostly if you're meeting friends or socializing, it was bonding typically over over a beer or alcohol. And the same thing in UK, for where some of my friends who live in UK tell me that typically after office hours 4 and 4:35, people leave, they typically go to a nearby downtown pub, have a couple of mugs, and then they go home. I mean, I think that's how they used to socialize before, even at work. And I don't know if that's the same trend that's appearing, but yeah, such instances have largely reduced, and this could be another reason for the reduced consumption of alcohol. Now, what this means for the hospitality industries, they need to rethink or come up with different strategies to attract Gen Zs to their places. Right now, obviously, what have they done? They've come up with a lot of interesting drinks. Even companies that manufacture alcohol are coming up with zero alcohol or less percentage alcohol drinks, which Gen Zs can consume, which gives the feeling that you're kind of socializing it, having a good time with your friends. So that's some of the generational change that is happening. This is part of the social dynamic or the demography. As people change over time, you will find that people will have different priorities in life, and this Gen Z definitely is shunning alcohol for a very good reason. And it's a tough time for the hospital industry, particularly with a lot of pubs that are closing, even in Bangalore. The excise collection this year, that is 2024-25, has been very similar to the collection last year, and it's kind of pretty much flat. They didn't meet the target, though they matched the numbers that they did last year, the previous year. The numbers are pretty flat. And I also spoke to some of my friends in the pubs and brewery industry where they said, then in some cases the sales have not just not even flat. It has kind of declined, unfortunately, right? So some of them are struggling. It's also possible that in a place like Bangalore, there is oversupply these days. So I think 6, 7 years back, there used to be around, I think, 15, 20, or maybe 17 to 20 breweries. And now I think people are looking at 70 to 80 breweries and another 50, 60 opening up in the next couple of years. So it's obviously a problem of oversupply, and coupled with the fact that Gen Zs are preferring a mindful life, very much cleaner and focused on health and wellness. So that kind of explains the change in priorities for the current generation. What it means for the future, we'll have to wait and see. But definitely, both the hospitality and alcohol industry need to rethink their strategies to serve a new market that has opened up. All right, we'll catch up again. Hope this session helped some of you people to understand why there's a change in priorities, and I'll meet you soon with something new. See you.